A reading from the first letter of Peter, chapter 4, verse 1 through 11. Therefore, since Christ suffered in the flesh, arm yourselves also with the same attitude, for whoever suffers in the flesh has broken with sin, so as not to spend what remains of one's life in the flesh on human desires, but on the will of God. For the time that has passed is sufficient for doing what the Gentiles like to do, living in debauchery, evil desires, drunkenness, orgies, carousing, and wanton idolatry. They are surprised that you do not plunge into the same swamp of profligacy, and they vilify you, but they will give an account to him who stands ready to judge the living and the dead. For this is why the gospel was preached even to the dead, that though condemned in the flesh in human estimation, they might live in the spirit in the estimation of God. The end of all things is at hand. Therefore be serious and sober for prayers. Above all, let your love for one another be intense, because love covers a multitude of sins. Be hospitable to one another without complaining. As each one has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever preaches, let it be with the words of God. Whoever serves, let it be with the strength that God supplies, so that in all things God may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom belong glory and dominion forever and ever. We hear Peter in this closing statement, whoever preaches, let it be with the words of God. Whoever serves, let it be with the strength that God supplies, so that in all things God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. That in all things that we do, God should be glorified. Some of you maybe have seen in one of my email correspondence that I'll sign a letter, "Glory to God always." Glory to God always. That in every act that I do, in every moment of my life, I may give glory to God. We see in the first reading, the sick I will heal, but the sleek and the strong I will destroy, shepherding them rightly. Here in Ezekiel, we see that we must be humble. We must acknowledge that we are weak. We must acknowledge that we do not know everything. We must acknowledge that we need the help of God. And if we acknowledge that we need the help of God, then God will help us. If we do not ask God for help, He will not give it, because He does not want to impose on us, because He loves us so much that He has given us freedom. So I am asking each one of us that we should be weak, that we should be sick, that we should be humble, and that in admitting our weakness, we can cry to God for help. And in crying to God for help, He will help us, and all glory will be His.